All right, here we are, April the 8th. We're continuing to work through the book of Ruth. All right, so the descendants of Boaz. So Boaz took Ruth into his home and she became his wife. When he slept with her, the Lord enabled her to become pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women of the town said to Naomi, "Praise the Lord, who has now provided a redeemer for your family. May this child be famous in Israel. May he restore your youth and care for you in your old age. For he is the son of your daughter-in-law who loves you and has been better to you than 7 sons." Naomi took the baby and cuddled him to her breast, and she cared for him as if he were her own. The neighbor women said, "Now at last Naomi has a son again," and they named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse and the grandfather of David. This is the genealogical record of their ancestor Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David. Okay, now we're jumping over to 1 Chronicles chapter 2. Starting verse 9, the sons of Hezron were Jermiel, Ram, and Caleb. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon, a leader of Judah. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse's first son was Eliab. His second was Abinadab. His third was Shemiah. His fourth was Nathanael. His fifth was Radai. His sixth was Ozem, and his seventh was David. Their sisters were named Zeruiah and Abigail. Zeruiah had 3 sons named Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Abigail married a man named Jether, an Ishmaelite, and they had a son named Amasa. 1 Chronicles 2:18. Hezron's son Caleb had sons from his wife Azubah and from Jerioth. Her sons were named Jesher, Shobab, and Arden. After Azubah died, Caleb married Ephrathah, and they had a son named Hur. Hur was the father of Uri, and Uri was the father of Bezalel. When Hezron was 60 years old, he married Gilead's sister, the daughter of Machir. They had a son named Segub. Segub was the father of Jair, who ruled 23 towns in the land of Gilead. But Gesher and Aram captured the towns of Jair and also took Kenath and its 60 surrounding villages. All these were the descendants of Machir, the father of Gilead. Soon after Hezron died in the town of Caleb Ephrathah, his wife Abijah gave birth to a son named Asher, the father of Tekoa. The sons of Jeremiel, the oldest son of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, Bunah, Oren, Ozem, and Ahijah. Jeremiel had a second wife named Adarah, and she was the mother of Onem. The sons of Ram, the oldest son of Jeremiel, were Maiz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onem were Shammai and Jada. The sons of Shammai were Nadab and Abishur. The sons of Abishur and his wife Abihail were Aban and Molid. The sons of Nadab were Seled and Apiam. Seled died without children, but Apiam had a son named Ishi. The son Ishi was Shishan. Shishan had a descendant named Eli. The sons of Jada, Shammai's brother, were Jether and Jonathan. Jether died without children, but Jonathan had 2 sons named Pelath and Zaza. These were all the descendants of Jermiel. Shishan had no sons, though he did have daughters. He also had an Egyptian servant named Jarrah. Shishan gave one of his daughters to be the wife of Jarrah, and they had a son named Attai. Attai was the father of Nathan. Nathan was the father of Zabad. Zabad was the father of Ephlal. Ephlal was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jehu. Jehu was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Helez. Helez was the father of Elisa. Elisa was the father of Sismi. Sismi was the father of Shalom. Shalom was the father of Jechamiah. Jechamiah was the father of Elishama. The descendants of Caleb, the brother of Jeremiel, included Shisha, the firstborn, who became the father of Ziph. Caleb's descendants also included the sons of Marsha, the son of Hebron. The sons of Hebron were Korah, Tapua, Rechem, and Shema. Shema was the father of Raham. Raham was the father of Jorkim. Rechem was the father of Shammai, and the son of Shammai was Mahan. Mahan was the father of Beth Zur. Caleb's concubine Ephah gave birth to Haran, Moza, and Giziz. Haran was the father of Gizez. The sons of Jadai were Regem, Jotham, Geshan, Pelet, Ephah, and Shaph. Another of Caleb's concubines, Maacah, gave birth to Sheber and Tirhana. She also gave birth to Shaph, the father of Madmanah, and Shiva, the father of Machbenah and Gibeah. Caleb also had a daughter named Aksah. These were all descendants of Caleb. The sons of Hur, the oldest son of Caleb's wife, Ephrathah, were Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, Salma, the founder of Bethlehem, and Hareph, the founder of Beth Gader. The descendants of Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, were Horeh, half the Manahathites, and the families of Kiriath Jearim, the Ithrites, Puthites, Shumathites, and Mishreathites, from whom came the people of Zorah and Eshtal. The descendants of Salma were the people of Bethlehem, the Notaphathites, Atroth Beth Joab, the other half of the Manahathites, the Zorites, and the families of scribes living at Jabez, the Terathites, Shimeathites, and Sukkothites. All these were the Kenites who descended from Hamath, the father of the family of Rechab. 1 Chronicles 4. The descendants of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Shobal's son Reiah was the father of Jahath. Jahath was the father of Ahamai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. The descendants of Etam were Jezreel, Ishma, Idbash, their sister Hezlelponi, Penuel, the father of Gedor, and Ezer, the father of Hushai. These were the descendants of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, the ancestors of Bethlehem. Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had two wives named Helah and Norah. Norah gave birth to Ahazom, Hepher, Temani, and Hehashterai. Helah gave birth to Zereth, Izhar, Ethnan, and Kaz, who became the ancestor of Anab, Zobeba, and all the families of Aharel, son of Haram. There was a man named Jabez who was more honorable than any of his brothers. His mother named him Jabez because his birth had been so painful. He was the one who prayed to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and expand my territory. Please be with me in all that I do and keep me from all trouble and pain." And God granted him his request. Caleb, the brother of Shuha, was the father of Meher. Meher was the father of Eshdan. Eshdan was the father of Beth Rapha, Paseah, and Tehinan. Tehinnah was the father of Ir-Nahash. These were the descendants of Rekah. The sons of Kenaz were Othniel and Sariah. Othniel's sons were Hahath and Monothai. Monothai was the father of Ophrah. Sariah was the father of Joab, the father of the Valley of Craftsmen, the founder of the Valley of Craftsmen, so called because they were craftsmen. The sons of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, were Iru, Elah, and Nem. The son of Elah was Kenaz. The sons of Jehalel were Ziphah, Tiriah, and Ezrael. The sons of Ezra were Jether, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. One of the Mered's wives became the mother of Miriam, Shumai, and Ispa, the father of Eshtoma. He married a woman from Judah who became the mother of Jared, the father of Gezer. Heber, the father of Soko, and Jukathiel, the father of Zanoah. Mered also married Bithiah, a daughter of Pharaoh, and she bore him children. Hodiah's wife was the sister of Naham. One of her sons was the father of Keilah, the Germite, and another was the father of Eshtoma, the Machathite. The sons of Shimon were Ammon, Rinah, Ben-Hanan, and Telon. The descendants of Ishi were Zoheth and Ben-Zoheth. Shelah was one of the Judah's sons. The descendants of Shelah were the father of Lekah, Leda, the father of Marishah, the families of linen workers at Beth Ashbia, Joachim, the men of Kozeba, and Joash and Seraph, who ruled over Moab, and Jeshubi Lehem. These names all come from the ancient records. They were the pottery makers who lived in Netaim and Gerah. They lived there and worked for the king. Okay, now we are in 1 Samuel chapter 1. There was a man named Elkanah who lived in Ramah in the region of Zuph in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, son of Zuph of Ephraim. Elkanah had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah did not. Each year, Elkanah would travel to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice to the Lord of heaven's armies at the tabernacle. The priests of the Lord at that time were the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas. On the days Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to Peninnah and each of her children. And though he loved Hannah, he would give her only one choice portion because the Lord had given her no children. So Peninnah would taunt Hannah and make fun of her because the Lord had kept her from having children. Year after year it was the same. Peninnah would taunt Hannah as they went to the tabernacle. Each time Hannah would be reduced to tears and would not even eat. "Why are you crying, Hannah?" Elkanah would ask. "Why aren't you eating? Why be downhearted just because you have no children? You have me. Isn't that better than having 10 sons?" Okay, so we are introduced now to the very beginning of 1 Samuel. So we kind of go back a little bit. We took a pause for a minute for you to see the lineage, the genealogy, moving to through Boaz to King David, and King David obviously is in the line of of Jesus, and so after we took that pause, now we are kind of returning back to the continuation of what's happening with the Israelites. Okay, remember we got to the end of the book of Judges, and everybody was doing what was right in their own eyes. They had no king, and so now we are moving into a season where they're going to actually ask for a king. And so we're introduced to the priest who is in charge. At the time, his name is Eli. He has two sons, Hophni and Phinehas. And we're introduced to Elkanah and his, Elkanah and his two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. And one of them, Hannah, is eventually going to become the mother of one of the greatest really prophets and priests in the Old Testament, Samuel. Okay, and that's what this book is all. It's called 1 Samuel. So we haven't been introduced to Samuel yet because he's not been born. Hannah has been barren up to this point, but God's about ready to bless her with a son, and we're going to learn more about that in the days to come. So 1 Samuel is a really incredible book. I hope that you make the entire journey with me as we walk through the book of 1 Samuel, and we're really moving into the time where now we will enter into the time of the kings here pretty soon. So it's more good lessons on walking with God and what happens when you don't. So congratulations again on finishing another book in the Bible. You finished the book of Judges and you finished the book of Ruth. So fantastic. Great job in doing that. And we will see you tomorrow. I hope that you have a really great day.